What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative, a channel where I like to talk about all sorts of bookish related things in the science fiction, fantasy, horror, manga, and whatever else I decide to read genres. In today's episode of Bookish Related Fun, I am going to go over my weekly reading wrap up, and that is where I just make any announcements I may have regarding the channel, talk about any book mail I may have received, and then tell you what I have read, what I am reading, and what I plan to read next. So without further ado, we will jump right on into the announcement. The first one being on Monday, the spoiler-free review that I did for The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones is going to go up that morning, but at 11 Central, 12 Eastern, a fireside chat collaboration that I did with Una from the Codex Cantina will go up on their channel. And that one, y'all, that is the one I am most excited for you to see. I'm gonna leave a link to the Codex Cantina's channel down below. Please check that one out. I am super proud of how that one turned out, and I want you guys to see it and let me know what you think. And then my second announcement, I have decided it is finally time to do an Assumptions About Me video. I feel like I've done all the newbie stuff, the Q&A. It's time to take it a little bit further, and since it's been a while since I've done any of that stuff and the family has just grown exponentially, and just sort of to celebrate my 1-year booktube birthday that I had on Wednesday, I just thought it would be a really fun way to do that and include you all. So I am quite certain hilarity is going to ensue. So in the description box, you're going to find a link to a Google Doc where you can anonymously submit your assumptions about me. You can submit as many as you like. I am still trying to figure out if I just want to do it as a video or maybe as a live stream. So weigh in on what you want that to be like in the comments down below, and I'll take a look at that and figure out how I'm going to do that. Obviously, if you send in anything inappropriate or harmful, I will not read it. Okay, let's talk about what I read last week. The first thing that I completed was Ouran High School Host Club Manga Volume 8. I really enjoyed this one. Y'all, I'm telling you, that method of just breaking it down and reading it one chapter at a time worked. Either that or the manga just finally got really good. I do have a Discord channel where we're talking about this as we're reading through. Una has provided some really good insight to the dynamic between the characters. So once I understood how the commoners versus the rich view each other in Japan, that helped with some of the things that I'm reading about make more sense to me as to what's going on. Some of it is just poking fun at that dynamic, and some of it is just showing how hurtful it is on both sides of that fence. I am definitely in this now. I'm looking forward to reading it every day and looking forward to continuing and completing the series. Next thing I completed is The Message by Clarice Lispector. The Message is a short story in which we are following around two teenagers. They're very angsty, and they connect with each other as young teenagers due to discovering that they both just felt anguish with where they were in their lives. They didn't like the others, what they called, which I'm assuming to mean everyone else, teachers, adults. They felt like no one understood them. And then once they graduated from high school, they were lost. They were trying to find their purpose. Like, what is next? What do they need to do? They never felt that they needed anyone. But when they graduated and didn't know what the next step to take was, and then realizing they did need the adults and the others in their lives. And it was just, I mean, I read this one, and normally Clarice Lispector short stories really make me think, and they stay on my mind for several days, and there's really a lot to unpack, even though the story is very simplistic. And so this one, when I got done with it, I just kept thinking about it, and I was like, what is the message of this story? I just knew there had to be something big behind it. And then I finally just realized that the story was simply about the unfairness of youth, or how a young person views everything as being unfair to them. Sometimes a story really is just simply a story. There's not some big analytical meaning behind it. But the fact still remains, it was a Clarice Lispector story. Even though there wasn't a whole lot to think about, I still thought about it anyway. The next book that I finished is Shelter for the Damned by Mike Thorne. It is an arc that he sent me to read and review. I believe that book will be available for purchase on February 26th. If that's not right, I'll put it on the screen, the correct date, and I'll have a link in the description box down below. This is a horror story that focuses around 3 teenage boys. You know, the first half of it really felt more like a coming of age type of story. Nothing scary or out of the way really happened until you are midway through the book. I am not an author, I'm not an editor, I don't know anything about what I'm saying, but my personal opinion is chapter 10 should have been chapter 1. If you had taken chapter 10 to start the book off, that would have done a really good job of setting that horror theme to it, and then chapter 1 through 9 would have been your development, world building area, and then the final chapters is where everything got serious. Writing style was just real free-flowing, easygoing, very conversational. I didn't care for the way it ended. We never got any explanation for what the malevolent force, where it came from, what its real purpose was, or why. We got no backstory, what or why or anything, and so it was just kind of left open-ended to, you know, which could totally leave it open for a series or a continuation, something along those lines. Y'all know me, I like closure, and I didn't get anything. I didn't get any explanation for anything to even allow me to sort of theorize what I could think. Sometimes it's fun when an author leaves an open ending. You can have fun theorizing and surmising what you feel like might have been how it would end. But this one, since there were no explanations given about anything, I have no idea what to think except. And then moving on into what I am still actively reading, I have already started volume 9 of the Ouran High School Host Club. I have read what looks like 2 chapters in it already. I read episode 39 this morning, and I think that's probably one of my favorite ones so far. I'm totally wrapped up in this. Can't wait to keep going. This one will definitely get finished in the next couple of days. I am also still working on Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I am I'm on page 219. It's not a bad story. I'm enjoying the story, but it's slow? I don't know. I guess what I'm really trying to say is this book is boring. It's boring. I don't know why, but it is boring. Like, it's so hot and cold. I'll read something that's really interesting and then it just kind of trails off and then I'm bored. But I want to get through it because I want to read the entire Cosmere and just experience all the connections. So what I'm doing, my plan of attack is just to read like 20 pages a day, so I'll have it done by the end of the month and I can move on from it. But yeah, this one just isn't doing it for me. And I'm still reading through Wildcat by J.P. Harker, book 1 in the Caledon saga. I am on chapter 17 and this one as well, page 229. And this one is a reread for me. I'm rereading it because of 2 reasons. The first one being this is the February book club pick for the shelf published in. And 2, I'm rereading it to freshen up my memory from the book because I want to continue this series. Book 4 is the one that recently came out, and I know that J.P. Harker is just started working on book 5, so I'm super excited to get caught up on that series. And then next up on still reading is The Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. This is a read-along that is hosted by the Codex Cantina, Christy Lewis, A Musical Bookworm, and The History Shelf. I have read books 1 through 4 in time for the live stream that took place last night. So if you have read The Brothers Karamazov, that live stream should now be on Christy's channel if you want to go take a look and see how the discussion plays out for what everybody thought about the first 4 books. I am enjoying the stuffing out of this book. It feels like I'm reading somebody's journal of gossip. I have just absolutely chuckled almost the entire way through. You know, I read about 10 to 15 pages in it every morning and I am just absolutely dying of curiosity to see where this story is going to go and how it's just going to keep unfolding, because it just keeps getting more and more just outlandish with what's happening, and I am here for it. And the next book that I started is Anger is an Acid by Michael Clark, which is book 3 in the Patience of a Dead Man trilogy. This one I'm actually buddy reading with Brad Proctor and Nikki from Dark Between Pages. I have been really excited to get to this conclusion of this trilogy. Patience of a Dead Man is my #1 most favorite haunted house book of all time. So I can't wait to see how this is going to get wrapped up, how this is going to end. I know I saw in a recent author spotlight that Michael Clark did with Nikki on her channel, which I'm going to have that link below for you. This series is over. We're not going to get any more. Like, it's done. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to get wrapped up. My friend Sharon has already read it. She's very excited that we finally started reading it. So I hope to knock this sucker out today. I only read about 4 chapters last night. You know, these type of books I cannot read at night, so I plan to get started this afternoon and see if I can't knock it out. And then what I plan to read next. The next book I'm going to pick up is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This is a channel buddy read with Alan from the Library of Alexandria. Most of the folks participating have already read it. There have been a lot of differing views about whether they loved it or they didn't love it. I can't wait to see where I stand. I know I've talked to a couple of people on my Discord and they just really couldn't get into it, ended up DNFing it. So I'm looking forward to finding out what side of the fence I'm going to be on with it. So I am planning to get to this one next. Then I will also be getting into A Time of Dread by John Gwynne, which is the first book in the Of Blood and Bone trilogy. This one is a buddy read as well. I'll be buddy reading this with Abby and Angela. I am so pumped to read this book, this trilogy. I cannot wait. I am so ready to be back in the Blasted Lands. So many of my good friends are reading through The Faithful and the Fallen, and they're messaging me, and I have just been living vicariously and just reliving the story of my favorite characters. I can't wait to see what is going to be involved in this world, but I am ready. My bags are packed. I'm going to the Blasted Land, y'all. Short story read. I'm actually going to take a break from Clarice Lispector, and I'm going to read Agnes Stillwater Day by Bart J. Gilbertson. Bart has been a long-time supporter of the channel. This is a short story that he wrote, and based off some recent things that I've read, he thought I would really enjoy this one. So I picked that one up on my Kindle to read this week. So I will be looking forward into reading that and talking about it with you guys next week. And that will take care of everything that I have read and what I am still reading and what I plan to read next. Lots of things I am excited to be reading and looking forward to reading. What are you guys reading that really just has you in its grips? Let me know down below, guys. Don't forget to check the description box for that link to submit your assumptions about me. Let me know if you want it as a live stream or just as an uploaded video. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you are having a great morning. I hope the rest of your day is absolutely fantastic. I'll see you soon.